Hello everyone, and welcome to another stream. And today I want to work a little bit more on our cozy VR, a cozy VR game, farming game, that's it. A cozy VR farming game. And let's check all the vitals. I think we're just doing fine. It's always exciting if everything works. And I managed to set up the camera. But the trouble is I have to have a whole combination of USB 3 ports and I only have 2. So I need to have a port for my camera, for the Stream Deck, and for my SSD. So yeah, I'm one short, but I managed to somehow get it to work. So hopefully it will work throughout the stream. Is the mic? Yeah, it's actually working. Cool. So let me show you what I got. I did a little bit of work in between streams. So let me run this and see what we have right now. And as you can see, there are last stream we ended and we had a patch of single grass. And in between streams, I set up a little system where it... let me shut down the physics visualization. Don't know why it didn't shut down. There we go. So that purple thing was the visualization of physics. But I set up a thing where we have an array, I think of 50 by 50 tiles. And that's filled with objects. And those objects are right now just random tiles into colors. But that's just so we have some tiles to start working with. I might change it so we have one tile this stream, because one of the things I plan on working today is when we click on a tile, I want to change the tile. Just to see how that works. I also want to start teleporting to a tile, so we cannot walk around in non-VR mode. Eventually the game won't even work when you're not in VR, because it's going to be a VR game, and I don't think the game would make much sense if you play it on a desktop. It won't be as fun. Because you cannot teleport around. We can move around, but that's not the same. But I think we can just do that on desktop as well. For now, we give it a little bit of vertical space. We can go into VR. So now we have the VR. We can see our hand there. And if we point this down, we should be able to see the target. Now when we trigger, or yeah, when we trigger, we select this tile. That's funny. Why do we move? I think that's a bug somewhere. We should not be able to move while we're dragging the screen if we are in VR. I think that's even the positions don't change. Not sure what's happening there. We should not be able to move by clicking the screen. Anyway, if we trigger, I want to change this tile, and in case I want to change this teleport thing to be our own cursor and stuck on a tile. Now how this is going to work at some point is that we will have certain tiles we can teleport to and certain tiles we cannot teleport to. And I think we could read that from that same array. Let me show you the code real quick. So we have this rule generator, and it's prepared for sections. So I was thinking of the game won't be 50 by 50 in size, but everything that is out of the 50 by 50 range, or even one behind that, is something you won't interact with because it's just too far away. So to somewhat optimize this, and I want to just be able to just generate another section in a certain direction, and if for some reason the generation will be random, so if for some reason I think it will be a good idea to buy another section or another tile in a certain direction, I should be able to do so. Yeah. How's my coffee doing? Nah, I think it's almost on. So yeah, right now it is just picking a random tile. I'm using my my own random number generator. The nice thing about this random number generator is that I can use a... it's seeded. So if I decide to... say I run into an issue, I should be able to grab the seed and do it again with the same random numbers. I also could end up giving you a random seed at the start, a random seed, and then use that same seed throughout the game. So if you do something, it will be the same random every time. And it comes with a couple of handy features, like getting a random item from an array. So I don't have to write that code. That's also very nice. Yeah, so this is created tiles. It creates a new tile entity. And I just came up with a couple of properties for the tile entity. I made up a couple of tile types. Could be anything eventually. I don't know yet. I also thought about getting a start of a crop on there. It's just a base, empty base class for now. But I think all crops will inherit from the crop base. And maybe there will be more. I haven't not fully thought this over yet. But I just wanted to do something. Did I do anything else? Oh yeah, I made a start for the cards. Oh, it should be exported even. Export deck. So you will have a deck of cards. You cycle through the cards. You see 4, 5, 6 cards in your hand. And that's... you can do something with those cards. And I'm not sure. I think you can... Is that what you can do that day? Or can you cycle through your cards during the day? So you only see 4, but you can use all. I'm not sure yet. But you will have a certain amount of cards in your hand. You can use those, and those cards will contain either a seed, or an animal, or tools. Like you need to water your plants. And this could be different level of tools. So this could be a you start out with a watering can and it holds enough water for 4 plants. I don't know, something like that. So you can water 4 plants and then you need to go to a well to fill it again, and it's tedious and you need to do it during the day, otherwise your plants will die. But then you can get a better watering can that can hold more water or can water more plants at once. There has to be ups and downs to the different tools. I still need to figure out all the numbers and details. So you have infrastructure, animals, so you can buy a cow with a cart, and then you have a cow, but the cow eats wheat. I don't know. So you have to have wheat and you need to feed it to your cow, but then your cow will give milk. And milk is more valuable than the wheat, so it's an investment that's should be good for. But your animal needs to drink, so you need to have water and give it water and have work. But then you can buy a pump and it waters automatically. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But for now, I want to teleport to a tile instead of to a random position. So I think I'm going to reuse this teleport component. I built this component for a game I was working on last year. I might pick it up eventually, but I wanted to. This farming game keeps eating on my brain. I'm not even sure how I did this teleport, by the way. I mean, it's called rotate player, teleport player. I don't even know how it teleports anymore. I think I did something sneaky. If you change the position of the player, yeah. Oh, here. It is a teleport. If the position of the player in the game state changes, so the tile you are on, then you teleport. Now this is tricky because you can walk around physically. So we need to take that into account at some point as well. I don't think I did this in this game, no. So in an update loop, we need to check the tile you are on, and if it's different, we need to update this without teleporting the player. Anyway, I think we need to start creating a game state. So the game state is just a class. Now I created an interface game state base. I don't know why I did that. And in this case, it's because I was exploring. What's it called? T-syringe. Are we going to use that here? No, I did not install it. So let's not do that. We can always refactor this. So we're going to do a new class, and we call this game state.ts. I think to make this game state work, there is also another game state, which is this one, a game component. So we need a game component as well. Move this over here for a sec. So we have a game state, export class game state. And in our components folder right here, I'm going to add a new file, call this game.ts. Let's create this one. What's WUtils? Oh, it wants to import that. That's funny. It's just IntelliSense. So this is coming from my own library. That my own extension that has snippets in there for either TypeScript or JavaScript, which is really handy if you just want to create components and stuff. Now to get this to work, we don't need to init, but I do want to have a reference to a player object. So we do WLO for the whole param object thing, enter, and now I have a property with for an object. I need to name this, so let's call this player object, and this is fine. I don't need to have anything else right here. Now I do want to have my game state actually as a singleton. So what I can do is not export this one, but do export const. We instantiate a new game state, and we do game state instance. So now every time we import game state instance, we get the same game state. So we kind of have a singleton. It's not really a singleton. We could use tsyringe to have real dependency injection. I was exploring that, but I still. So the reason I wanted to use dependency injection is that I really use it a lot in my C# code in the past. Especially when you need to go test stuff or just separate things. Dependency injection is really nice. But in other language, it doesn't work for me. I haven't find the way to make it work in the way I want to have it work in C# with constructor injection and dependency trees and yeah, all that kind of stuff. And then you want to have injected types based on kinds of variables or whatever. Anyway, we have this world generator, and this has a world gen. At this moment, the world generator just kicks in as the game starts. Eventually, we will have different states in the game. Hence the game state. Mainly, we'll have a state for the main menu. So the game loop will be fairly short. Not as short as some desktop roguelikes where you are just dead in minutes. But if you are unlucky with your first set or your second set of cards, it could be over in a few minutes, the game. 10 minutes, I don't know. So you will go back and forth the menu quite a lot. So why don't we just change it up a little bit and call this generate? So now the rule generator component does not really start immediately. And we just call it in the game component. We need the reference to it anyway. So we do WL, no, not component, object. And we say world gen. Cool. Now, at certain game states, I want something to happen. So let's add a couple of game states. Export. Let's use const state, and let's add a few. Main menu, pause, game over. As a suggestion, yes, I want to add one more in it. That's -1. Oh. That's where we start. And then pretty soon we go and change this. Now let me just copy it from here. That's easier to work with. There we go. Boom. And now we need this. We have this subject, and this subject is something that's coming from RxJS. And it's complaining because it's not initialized. We need to initialize in the constructor. Now, we don't have this state anymore. So this is how we need to have it. We have a state subject. And subject is something we can watch. And when we change the subject from here, so we set the state, it updates and we have the reactive thing going. So we always have a little bit of extra right here, like this. It's the easiest way to get this to work correctly and optimized. So when we change the state with the setter, now I'm not really happy with the setter, because we might have to do other things. So I'm actually already going to remove the setter. Or can we make it a private setter? Can we do something like this? So technically, if we have the game state instance, because this is something I want to do, we need to import it. And we subscribe to changes on the state right here. Now it gives us an example. This is not exactly how I would use it, but it's funny that it's actually giving two. Player stop. Interesting. Because state is a number. You know what? I don't like that state is a number. Why don't we make this an enum? It's funny, now it has to be an equal sign. Okay, now state is an enum. I think when it's compiled, it'll be the same. But it makes things a little bit easier here. So now it's state dot, or if. Well, let's do switch. State. We do case. We can use that enum. Well, we could have used the constants, but if it's game, then we do gen world this dot world gen dot generate. No. This needs to be object. Then in the start, we say this dot world gen is this component. Oh, we don't have that object, so we have a private world gen. Now this could be null, but I don't think it will be. And if it is, something is wrong, so we do it like this. We just force everything into place. I need to keep in mind to type a little bit in the top, otherwise my big ugly head is in the way. So the world gen dot generate, that's what we can do now, and that generates the world. So when the state becomes game, we go and generate the world. Now how do we get there? What I like to do, I'm just going to copy that over again. Let's grab this one. So from this game, right here, I subscribe to whether I'm in VR or not. I don't know why I did it twice. And this is actually not the best way of doing it. Let's do it better. Is that true? So normally you would subscribe to events here. So when the XR session starts, start XR session, and we do this a little bit different. We do it like this. So now it is a property and not a function or a method. And because it is a property, we can do this. No, we can do this. If we add this. But now we can use this here. So the context stays correct, just because it's a property. And on deactivate. No, this is not correct. We can correctly remove it again. So if for some reason this component gets deactivated, it nicely removes the event handlers. And because we do that, we don't get memory leaks and crazy stuff. So you always want to add and remove your event handlers on activate and on deactivate. So let's add an on session end as well. Yep. There we go. And XR session. So we have that one, and here we remove it. So if we would have other event handlers we want to add, we can do it the same way. We just on activate, we add them, and on deactivate, we remove them. Now when the session starts, we're just going to go into and we call enter VR. And here we call exit VR. And let's have go. So now we have two methods, enter XR and exit VR. Is it automatically? No. Not sure why it spread things out and not like that. So we have this another state subject thing, and we call this is in VR subject, and that is a subject of Boolean. It's a new subject that is false. Can we do that? We need to have a private field in the back. Is in VR. And it is false because we never start in VR. Now the reason I have set it up like this, I don't like calling properties from the outside. There might be and there will be dependencies on entering or exiting VR. And I want to have them here. There might be dependencies on changing the state. So I don't want other places to change the state of the game. Only this class can change that state. Another thing might request to change the state. So if you click a button in the menu, it might say, well, we need to change the state to the game, but then it calls into the game state and says, well, I'd like to change the state. And then the state knows, well, oh yeah, but we need to do that as well, and we need to initialize the audio, we need to change the song, we need to reload the scene. We can do all kinds of stuff. That's why I like to center things in this point. And we can just, if we need more state, for example, we need a lot of state for a level, we can just add a level state. But when something happens in the game state, it's probably, it needs to do things with a level state as well. So we can make those things dependent. And because we're using the reactive subjects, we can just say, well, it changes. And everyone that is listening handles those changes. So we enter VR. We say is this what we want? Actually, I think this will be best to do. Private set is in VR. Is this correct? Oh no, it's like this. So when I look at this from the outside, Oh, I actually see those. Interesting, they should be private. Oh, this should be private. That's why I see them. Now I don't see them. So I see this subject. The subject is something we can subscribe to. If I just need the value, I can use this. The single property is in VR. But I cannot do this. Then I get an error. Wait, it's read only. But I can do I can't do it like this, because I can read the value, I cannot write to the value. And now I have enforced that I need to call a method. For example, enter VR, to enter the VR, and that would change the state. That would just say, this dot is in VR is true. And instead of this, it should do this. Let's see, we have the is in VR subject. By default, it is false. It does not trigger. And internally, I can change this. Cool. Because I can do the private, I can change the private from the inside. So now I can listen to that. I can also say, well, when we enter VR, that's where I want to change this one as well. So I say, well, if we enter VR, we do this dot state equals state game. So now when we enter VR, at that point, this piece triggers and we generate a world. It might seem overkill, but eventually it will be cool and will be the best. So now I have this. When we enter VR, nothing happens and we get a lot of messages. So I probably did it wrong. I did not. But it could be that it's not packaging automatically. Although it didn't. We are in VR. Oh, if you create new scripts, one thing you might want to do is add them to your project. Game. Now keep in mind, I am using a nightly version of the engine. I installed it today. This is today's nightly. And I tested it real quick to see if it works. And it did not crash immediately, but that doesn't guarantee it cannot crash. So the player object is this object. World gen object was environment ground. This is the world gen object. So let's drop that in here. And let's rename this to game. So now we have a game. Let's do manager. Manager. Every game needs a game manager. We have the game manager and it has a player. Now it should work. So let's try again. It automatically refreshes. That's always nice if that works. We go in here and now it generates. So now the thing just works. We get a lot of messages. What's the bit I don't know. It's probably something in the nightly. We're just going to ignore it. Okay. So we can look around. It runs pretty slow. Okay. Step 1. I wanted to work on teleport. So let's see if I can do that. So normally teleport works when you do this. How did I do that in Runes of the Deep? Pum 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 pum. I changed the position of the player. How do I change the position of the player? Going somewhere behavior now. We should be able to just... Or did I do it here? Nope. It's always interesting that you, after a few months, you completely forget how you built your game. You know what? We're just going to open the game and see how I did it. That's probably the best way. So there should be... Again, this game is generated at runtime as well. All my games are runtime generated, so it's pretty empty in the engine. Although all different blocks that are in here. So we will have something like this list in the new game as well, in the farming game. Except it will be in a different project. One of the great things that is coming is multi-scene, multi-project support, better but multi-project support. So it will be cool. We will use that in this game. I need to use that in this game. Teleport manager, Sorskoot teleport, player non-VR camera. How do we trigger this? There must be something on the cursor. There's a weapon. How do we pick target? Teleport allowed, teleport not allowed. It's the pick target. I knew it. Pick target. Pick target. And the great thing is, this is exactly what I need for the game. I need to pick targets. I knew I had something for that. Now I question. I have a pick target. It's called tile selector. The question is how we're going to initiate the teleportation. Because this pick target is a bit different. So I think I'm just going to look up the code. Wonderland components on GitHub. Because I think the default teleport is in here. This is the default teleport code. And we can just, it's open source. So we can just have a look at how that works. What's it doing to get the teleport started. Now there's a lot more in here than what we need. Here, look at this. What I just said, it's in here as well. It's probably somewhere. Oh, here it's just a property in JavaScript. JavaScript is a bit different than TypeScript, but what I said, it's in this as well. Now an update. This is looking the gamepad, the axis. So if you move your thumbstick up, it goes into teleport mode. So that's in here. until you release it, and then we teleport the player. Now we can teleport just by changing the position of the player through the game state, and then it should teleport. The reason, by the way, the reason I do it like that, is I want to be able to just place the player somewhere from other ways as well. So I just want to have it through one different thing. Hey Walter, what game am I making? I'm working on a farming game, and it's just getting started. I can show you what I have right now. Basically, it's this at the moment. It's going to be a rebuild of a farming game I did for a game jam. Let me show you that one. This one. This one was built using Unity. And I want to build something similar to this. I built this in Unity just to see how something would work in Unity with VR, since I normally do WebVR, WebXR. And we're just going to use similar... right now I'm using the exact same graphics, but I'll probably use different ones and change them up in the as we go. So it's going to be similar to this, with a twist. This is basically it. You can harvest. I think there were so one of the easy things to do in Unity is adding animations. So we'll work on that eventually, but here you see the harvest. It is, yes, it is a lot of work. Although this was built for a game jam in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, 10 days, I think. I want to take things a bit slower now. Well, it should have been done if I would start working on this in 2 weeks. I did a similar game. I don't think I can run it. I did a similar game. I worked on a similar game in the past. I'm not sure. It doesn't run anymore. The code is too old. This was the first iteration of the farming game. And you can teleport around. You can harvest or plant crops that would grow over time. You can... they would... Well, that's basically it. You can plant crops and they would grow over time. You can harvest them and that's it. It just had a counter. It wasn't really a game yet. I don't think the... No. Oh, this is the plant. It's just... it's all broken. So there were corn, tomatoes, and cauliflowers. I have the 3 models still, the 3D models still. But it was the first iteration, and the new game is going to be somewhat similar to this, a combination of both. Maybe a bit more 3D than the other one, though pixelated. But both games were missing some crucial idea. And that's what I'm going to add in the third iteration of the game. And that's going to be cards. So instead of just buying seeds, you will get them randomly. And you need to sell them to make money. If you plant, you get a card to plant a seed. But that seed will still cost money if you plant it. It will have a certain amount of money or time or water that it costs per day. So you have to create a well, you need to fill your watering can at the well, you need to water the plants, and then if you've done all your things, then you can end the day, and then you get a little bit of money back from the plan. So it will be a little bit more turn-based than the other games, and because of the cards, it will be random. So those two things will make it slightly into a roguelike game. Is the world is generated, everything is random generated, and it's turn-based. So yeah, it's going to be a VR roguelike cozy type game, farming game. Yeah, and I plan on working on this game for the next few months. I think maybe until after the summer. Hopefully it's I have a playable version towards the summer. Otherwise we will continue next year probably. Let's see what I think we should do. So I was working on a tile selector. I just noticed these two. Tile selector. I wonder if this would run. No. Do we have errors? Yes, we have errors. Yeah, there are things that have changed. Yeah, the replayability is something I want to have in there. What I've seen with a lot of VR games, especially the web VR games, is that they are either you need to make them short. You don't want to spend 10 minutes loading a game. I love games like Half-Life Alyx or I don't know. There are a lot of great VR games, but just to get going in the game and the progress is slow, and well, I cannot build. Technically, I might be able to build a game like any other game, but it will take years full time. I don't have that time. I want to build small games, get in, play for a few minutes, get out, maybe continue at another point. So I want to build some save game functionality in there as well. But just get in, play a few minutes and get out. And if you can, if it would be fun to have to restart again because you thought you were doing well, but you just went unlucky. Well, yeah. So that is it. That's it. But I was going to, I think basically copy this update. I want to modify the teleport to only teleport to specific tiles. You know, we didn't even try VR yet today. So is it going to? Let's just run this game in VR. So to prove we have VR and I've set it up correctly. So right now it is empty. Is it visible? Yes, it is. Nice. So when we enter VR, we should generate the world. Now the world is generated. So we have two cards here. This will change eventually, but these are the cards. And as you can see, that blue thing will be the target of the area which we will do something with. Now at this point, the normal teleportation is in there. So I can teleport around. I can just go all the way to the edge of the thing. I actually can continue. There is no limit to It just... But this is the only sector that is generated. But I want to change this so these feet are in the same style of the rest. Always centered to the tile. But I want to have to be able to rotate them. And if you teleport to exactly that tile. That's what I want. So I need to copy this rotation thing to my location picker. I think just to be able to just either pick the tile or switch to teleportation. Although I might just do a different script and switch context. But a bit tough, I think. It will be tough either way. Let's do something. Let's just borrow this code for a second. I think we can just drop it in here. Now we get errors. Oh no. But that's because this is JavaScript. Let's add it into a temporary file. New file. Original teleport.js. Now we don't have errors. Now we can leave this in and run it. We could even use this right now. We can modify this. Now this component is built to teleport on desktop as well. It has all kinds of handy features. I'm not sure why it's using the left eye and the right eye. Oh, it takes the position. Interesting. Why would it teleport to the eye position? Interesting. It gets the position. Yes, and then teleports based on that. Interesting. Now we are not going to teleport with this code. We're going to use a different teleport way. We're going to teleport based on the game state. The game state keeps track of the position of the player. Now there is one tricky thing, and that is when the player moves in VR, just steps aside. If the player needs to water a plant and walks there, it should also work. And we should know that we're on that tile. But at first I think we don't really bother keeping it in sync. If you teleport to that place, and that's fine. If you walk, your cursor is anywhere. It's just for teleportation. But since we have tiles, I want to teleport to a tile. Okay. So let's see what we need. I need to sneeze. So annoying. I need to sneeze, but it's not coming. We do need to have the cam root. We need to have a indicator mesh. Let's start there. So we have our tile selector. Let's add a W object, and let's call this teleport indicator mesh object. If we teleport, we use the cam root for the player. The object will be positioned on teleportation. We don't need it. because we're doing it differently. Floor group. We do need the thresholds and the indicator offset. Yes, I want those 3. And the rest will be fine. Now this is the JavaScript way of doing things. I'm doing it in TypeScript. So this is not going to work, but I'm copying them here because now it's a bit easier to recreate them. So we do W float for parameter. And this is all coming from my own VS Code extension for Wonderland. Oh, let's keep it in 0. Let's be nice and neat. Let's just keep the comments. No, I like to do my own game assets. I use Pixel Edit for some of the assets, but these assets are coming from an asset pack. I forgot which one. It's on my document somewhere. I think it's in my document. It's in my old document for the old game. I think I even mentioned it in the Live at Pixel Farm. If you go to Sorskoot at itch.io, you can get to all kinds of things I'm built that are on itch. And there is a devlog there where I describe what I did with the crops and those kind of things. I can make my own assets, but I just want to save some time just by either buying an asset pack or using an asset pack that is free. Just to save some time at the start. And I always end up just adding things here and then modifying things. But I have experience as a 3D designer. I worked as a 3D designer for about 5 years, I think. Way back before before I got into my first real programming job. But I still love modeling sometimes. So I know my way around Photoshop, and I can do some basic things. I'm not the best modeler or animator or designer, but I just love doing it for my own games. Yeah, I started learning Blender a few years ago when my student license for 3D Studio Max ran out. Blender was really hard to use years ago when I stopped as a 3D designer and I did not have access to 3D Studio Max anymore. I tried switching to Blender, but I couldn't. And then I got somehow a student license that worked for about 3 years. So I expanded. So actually, this game, or I closed it already. The previous version of this game was actually built in Max. And I did scripting as well in Max. So I created that world you see is built with a script in 3D Studio Max. But now I do all those things in Blender. And I forgot what I was doing. Oh yeah, we were doing these things. And I'm lazy. If I have to do things multiple times, I create a script or I create an extension. 0.3. Let's keep the comment. And then the last one is the indicator offset. I don't have it in here. I hard coded it, I think. Yeah, it's this. It's better to and nicer to use a float offset 0.01. Now the nice thing is, so if we go back to our thing here, we have the indicator somewhere. I think it's on the controller, the tile selector. So now we have all those properties here as well. So we have this cursor object. That's that one. That's the other one. Oh, it's here, the cursor. So I'm going to just clone this, and I'm going to call this teleport indicator. And I think this one is just a plain as well. Oh no, it's a mesh. It's a mesh. Well, we don't need this one anymore. Soon. Let's keep it in for now. For a second still. Teleport indicator. I'm just going to use a primitive plane. And I'm going to... I do create a new material. Otherwise, it goes horribly wrong. Let's just duplicate the cursor. And let's call this teleport indicator. It's going to be... yeah, let's keep it as Fung opaque textured for now. Doesn't really matter. So I still have a teleport indicator selected, so now I can just drag this material over there. And now we have the right material. Nothing changed. And the reason I picked this one, it's not visible right here, but this one has transparency. So in my pipelines, I've set this up to have transparency in there, which helps a bit. I am working on my own pixel art shader because I want to make it better, but I still haven't managed to correctly do it. So for now, we're just using the Fung shader, and we should have this indicator, and we can drop that in there, and now it's there. So that will be the teleport indicator. It's similar to the target, but if we going to push our controller forward, we get this indicator. And then we just rotate it. Let's go back here to the pick target. No, to this pick target, to the tile selector. Let's use this indicator offset right here. Oh, it's this indicator offset. It's so stupid. And I know why I do this wrong. I always use this every time, normally. Even my C# code, I don't do as much C# as I did before, but in C# I always use this. It's not necessary. If you're in the same class, you don't have to use this, but I like to use this because it's very simple to see the difference between this ray hit and this indicator offset. This is local to this method and this is global to this class. I can just see that just because there is this. It is not required to do that. And I'm doing a game development course. And early in the beginning, I got some comments that, well, you don't have to do that. And so I stopped doing it in that course. And I was developing for that course before I started the stream. And now I'm just messing things up every time. You look welcome. You're looking to start creating VR games. Well, you're in the right place. I'm doing VR games. And if you have questions, you can just ask away. Is there anything specific you have in mind? Do you want to start working on VR games for the web? Because that's what I'm doing. these games actually run in the browser. And in the browser on the Quest. And I'm using a tool called Wonderland Engine, which I've been using for ever since I got access to it. Now I'm a bit biased at this point because I started working with Wonderland as well, but I still use the engine for pretty much all my WebVR games. And if you want to know my so there are a lot of tutorials around on the internet, and you can follow those and create something. But my biggest tip to get started into something like this, it doesn't really matter what topic it is. In this case, VR games. Just build something. Just get your hands dirty. That's the best thing you can do. Just do it. Go in, build a game. It doesn't have to look good. It doesn't have to be good. You don't even have to publish it if you don't want to. But build something. That's how it works. Just do it. If you want to learn how to speak English or German, I don't know. The best way to learn how to speak German is to speak German. Just do it. If you want to learn how to ride a bike, you can watch videos of people riding bikes. Well, Dutch as well, yeah. You can learn Dutch, but Dutch is easy. For me. And since you're suggesting Dutch, I assume you know Dutch? But yeah, you can watch videos of someone riding a bike. But that doesn't learn you how to ride a bike. You have to get a bike and get on the bike and start driving. That's how you learn how to ride a bike. And the same goes for any programming. Just do it. Build something. And then you run into issues. And then you need to solve those issues. And that's where you learn. You build those. You go in, run into something. And that's how you learn. Now, if you have questions on how to do something, just feel free to ask. Join my Discord or the Discord or Wonderland Discord if you're using Wonderland. If you don't have any experience and you just know a little bit of HTML, you don't want to get into crazy things. When I used to, I did a lot of workshops for people who want to get into WebXR development, WebVR development, I think it was called even then. And I most often use A-frame. A-frame is very, very low level entry. You don't have to write any code. You just have a cube where you can walk around. With Wonderland, you can as well just hit play and you have something. But some people just like to have something in an editor and just write a few lines of HTML. But just to get going. If you have some experience with Unity or want to have something that might work a bit like Unity, Wonderland Engine is a great choice. It's not Unity because the goal is completely different. Creating WebGL in Unity is hell. It's not fun. I mean, the reload cycle, I just save, and this automatically refreshes. So we need to move this to the side now. I hope this works, because in the nightly it's a little bit broken sometimes. I move this around, I save, I go back here, and now it's moved. That's how fast it is. And the same goes for the quest. If you have the quest, I often, when I need to do things like placing something, I have the quest on, I just put it up, I move something, save, and it refreshes. There was an older version where it can even update things without refreshing the browser. It just updated internally. And the amazing thing was that you can, and I still hope that we would figure out a way, or the engine guys would figure out a way to get that back in, because technical reasons it became too complicated to do that. But I was doing HoloLens development, so I would be in XR on the HoloLens. I have objects in my room here in XR, and I don't even take off the HoloLens. I just look at my screen through the HoloLens, change something, and just it updates almost instantly. So you need to place something in a certain position, you move it, you save, and you see it. It's so cool. Yeah, there seemed to be a trend going where people talk about tutorial hell. Where people get stuck into building tutorials, but eventually never build a game because they can only do tutorials. I think tutorials are really great if you know the basics, if you know how to modify them. Hello. BMW DJ. How you doing? Teleport. It's so funny, when live streaming I never get things done. No, I'm not using Godot. This is Wonderland Engine. It's for building VR on the web. Technically you can do non-VR as well, as long as it's free. You can just disable the button and you can add things, you can walk around. A while back we ported a game. Oh no, get the window back. A while back we ported a game, Dead Secret Circle, and that runs everywhere. You can play it with your mouse on the desktop. Actually, I have never tried Godot. I might have installed it even. No, I've not installed Godot. I installed it once to go and try it to build WebXR. I know someone who was working on an exporter, or maybe it's in the engine already. I don't know. But learning another engine just takes a lot of time. Let's see. We have the original teleport. We were thinking of things. So we have this raycast mode. We don't need to copy the raycast mode because I am using PhysX. That's it. I don't need to change it. And the max distance. I do have the max distance in here, I think. Oh, I have it set up even. Yeah, I have it set up even. That's nice. Okay. This is an interesting choice. So one thing, when doing the web, you might want to optimize things as much as possible. and just keep certain things in mind. So you often see these temp vectors, and they're actually in this class. Most often I place them outside of my class or just play the game. I can show you, but it's not really a game yet. This is the third stream on the game. I can show you the game in VR. So let me just go enter my headset and let's go in here. If I hit play, I can select my quest here. If I hit play, it should open the browser window. And we have the game here. When we enter VR, the world generates, and well, it's broken at this point. We can teleport around. So we have this Z fighting stuff going on for the teleporters. But because I am working on that indicator, it's broken now. But this is what I have so far. It's not much yet. But it's basically the result of, I think, 3 hours work. I think. During streams where I'm talking to people as well. But if you want to see what I did the previous streams, you can just... I think there's a playlist with the other 2 streams. And I will continue working on this for the next few months. I am trying to get back into a schedule. I'm just... At the moment, it's crazy busy. I'm trying to finish a game development course to get a diploma as a game developer, actually. But it has to be that course has to be done within a month. So after that, I might have a bit more time to stream on a regular schedule. I used to stream on Twitch on Mondays and Thursdays, and sometimes when I have some extra time. And I want to get back into the schedule. And just setting things up for the stream and having the chatbot running. The chatbot is not running right now. And she is running. So it's my own AI assistant Rosie that is here. But she's not really doing much right now. We can ask her questions. So we'll be in the chat soon. I've been working on that a little bit as well, not live. But this is pretty cool. Hey Rosie.
Yes.
Can you say hi to the people in chat?
Hi everyone in chat. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Smiling face with smiling eyes, waving hand.
Yeah, so this is Rosie. And she'll be supporting the chat at some point. At some point she was built for the Twitch. She started out as just a simple Twitch bot to handle commands, but she grew a bit and she's now my personal assistant, running in the background all the time. I hope soon she can answer emails. I'm working on that as well. And I'm getting closer to that. Let's see, the floor group we have. We need to have these things. The input component. Why do we need the input component? Yes, she's very nice. Yeah, besides VR, I like to play with AI as well. It's input comp that I'm worried about. In the update, input comp is update. It's not used. Where is it used? Oh, input. Ah. Wow. So it's used to get the handedness and then the input. But I want to see if it's used in update to get, because this is using the gamepad. Where's gamepad coming from? I think that's just coming from the input sources. Yes, the input source change. So and this dot input, but it's not used. So it is used here. If it doesn't there, the input component is required for the object. Then it's used here. Just when the input component is read, it is set there. And then it's used here. Why do I need the input component? I don't get it. So the default teleport is right here. This is the input component. But it's not used. Now this could be streamer brain, which is a thing. That I'm just missing the obvious. But I forgot. I don't get why I need the input component. I mean, array is cast from origin and direction is this object. So this is the hand. I could just put it on any object. Better, this wouldn't even work if it's on a child. If an input is not. So say I have the teleport for some reason on a child of the cursor. Then it won't even work. Interesting. Also, I don't know why it didn't work when we were in VR just a moment ago. I'm going to check that first because it should work in VR. We can. There we go. We have this teleport indicator, but it's not set up, so we get an error. And we get an error because in my tile selector, I said required is true here. So if this normally the object could be null because it's an object. And this special thing just says, well, it has to be set. In my code snippet thing, I just always add requires true. It's rare that you don't need this. Could be in some cases that you have something that is required, that you want to have there in some cases. In other cases, you don't want to have it. If it's not there, it's fine, especially when you make something that is shared and used by other people. For instance, in a framework, I just don't want. I don't need it different than this. I just it's required. If it's not there, things will break. I've not set it up here. I think my game I did something. Yeah, like this. If I would build a framework or code that is used in a different way, I would not do it like this. Because there is a chance that this is just an object. And the world gen component could not be on that object. And if it's not on that object, this would just force it. And normally you want to check it. If it's not there, you want to give a nice error. You forgot to add the component to that object. You want to specify which object you forgot it on. So normally I would have like 3, 4, 5, 6 lines to just get a component in a production ready way. But since this is a simple, my own simple game, I don't really care about those things. And just add an exclamation mark, just ignore it. Otherwise we get a message, well, this could not be null. And then we have to say, well, here it could be null. There's an exclamation mark here to just bypass the fact that it's not null and not initialized in the constructor. Well, yeah, I'm just ignoring errors here. I've set it to strict, but I just bypassing strict as much as I can. Okay, teleport. We're not making progress today. Again. So basically, we have this gamepad. To get the gamepad, we need to have this little piece of code. Event is end. One time bind. I don't get this. Why? I think this is an evolution from very old code. Anyway, I want to have these input sources. An input source could change. So this could happen if you lay down your controls and switch to hand tracking. So we kind of need both. But we're going to do it in a different way. I'm going to do a set up input and just drop this in. An S is an XR session. So I have set it up so I don't allow any. So I have this tsconfig and it is just, it's strict. I don't allow any. I just want to have. I want someone to just complain about my code all the time. I had comments of people in the past that were complaining that the game could not be played by left-handed people. So to be inclusive, I'm going to include this enum. Let me scroll a bit. Let's call this handedness. It's type enum. It's left, right, or none. I'm not sure. Default is... Wait, what? Ah! Its default is input component, so there are 4 options. And the default is input component. Oh, and it's not. There we go. I'm not sure how I feel about this. So I get the reasoning behind this. This because it's a component that is used everywhere. So these are the options, and input component is referring to input. That's why it's using the input. Just to get that handedness. So in that code, it is saying if handedness is 0, input component, then it's getting the input component. If there is no input component, we get a warning. Otherwise, we set the handedness to this, and otherwise we set it to left or right. I'm not sure what happens if we set it to none, but this is a number. I'm always annoyed with how the how this works. I in TypeScript, so ideally I would just drop an enum in here. Did I do it here as well? I've experimented a bit with these enums. Enum. Did I use an enum here? No, I didn't use an. I didn't even use an enum in this game. You know, when in doubt, ignore. It's on the backlog for later. We're not going to do that today. So, if handedness is handedness, we kind of have to have it. Otherwise, we're going to mix up. So, if we lay down one controller, we're going to mix up the left and the right controller. So we need to just... Well, it's on the input. We just use the input. We can do... We just... Now the thing is, this is also a JavaScript, an old JavaScript way of doing things. We want to have input component. We use a type. So this is actually now a generic version of get component, and now this type is also input component. So now we can do input component dot. Wait, we need to force it, and now we say input component dot handedness. I mean, now it knows about handedness on input component. We don't have a gamepad property yet, but we have a simple way of getting it. Let's go there for a sec. Undefined. Gamepad or undefined? Yeah, it's fine. Because it can be undefined, I guess. Yeah, we need that. We also have this one. Let's do on activate, on deactivate. Not entirely sure why it has the void. We don't need it. The thing was here, when you enter VR, that was the thing, I guess. Yes, on the XR session start, and then it's going to remove the callback, and that's just the call to this VR events. You know what? Let's just copy this. I'm lazy. Let's do it like this. So now we have set it up in such a way when this component is activated, we subscribe to the on session start, and when it's deactivated, we subscribe to we remove that event handler. Now in here, it is some tricky thing, I think, if I can find it. In here, when the session ends, it creates a function and then deletes it, then deletes its own session. Why? I wonder why it keeps track of the session here. Why would you want that? Just to check if we are in VR. Technically, I'm not building a general object. I need to do. I can do this differently. I can just say, well, we don't need init. I'm just going to use game state, and we do state of the subscribe state. And we say if state equals state dot. No. It's not state. It's not state. It's VR. It's dot is in VR subject is in VR. Well, Walter, good night to you too, and thanks a lot for hanging out. So now we have this is in VR. think I need to check. I think we can even do something like filter. No. I probably didn't do it subject. I probably did not do it here. No, I didn't use it in this game. Oh, let me think. Let me think. Did I do it in another game? Maybe? I think I used... Next. Why is it only used in this? So in this game, I didn't even go any further than just creating a game state. Do we have more games running here? Realm of the Dead. I don't think I used RxJS in this. I did. Babylon. Is it Babylon? It's not Babylon. Oh, this is using all kinds of crazy things. This is not a Wonderland game. Could be that that I... It's definitely Wonderland. Realm of the Dead. I actually forgot what the game was about. Oh, this could be that horror game that was in the basement or something. Fmod, yes. Also, they didn't filter. The old farming valley did not use it. Sorskoot's House of Dead, maybe. Subject. Game state, subscribe, this unchanged. I think I just need to ignore it for now. Apparently I didn't use it. Damn it. I want to do something fancy, but it's taking me too much time now. So, the great thing is, you should be able to just do something. That's not filter. It was... Was it pipe? I'm not sure. It was something like this. It's probably not pipe. Or it was pipe and you needed to do something else. So what I thought of doing is not use this is VR. You know what? It would be fun. Let's use Rosie. How do you filter a subscribe in RxJS? I have a reactive property of Boolean, and I want it to only I want the subscribe to only trigger when it's true. Okay. Ah, we need to import operators, and then we pipe with that filter. I was close. So now I can pipe with that filter. So now I can call filter. Let's see, filter with the value equals true. Oh, no, filter value equals true, and then subscribe. In this example, the filter operator takes a only pass through when the value is true. Okay. So I think now the question is it better? Now I have this. And this is only getting here when it's true. Is the if better or not? I don't know. I don't like it. But this is when we enter VR. If we enter VR, then we get here. Setup events. And I don't even want this, because this.engine.xr should be the XR, should have the XR session. Const s equals session. Force. So technically we should have a session when we enter XR. So let's move this out of the scope here. Oh, we need to have the I in there. We need to move this out of the scope here. We say const handedness equals that handedness. So now we can just say handedness here, plop handedness here. We need to supply a type for this. Oh, I don't know what type this is, and how do I know the type for this thing? Is there an input event? Input source? Let's ask Rosie. What do we want to know? What should be the type of E? Let's test her intelligence. XR input source exchange event. Thank you. I think that's correct. Oh. XR input change event. So Rosie is basically my personal Stack Overflow. She's using GPT-4 with some stuff on top. This part is just GPT-4 with vision, so she can interpret images as well. But I have some. I've created some embeddings for WebXR and Wonderland and web development and Azure. Let's see. This not gamepad. Why's my command period not working? Ah, we cannot use this because we need to do this differently. There we go. So now, do we still need to have that type here? If we do it like this, we don't even need to type. Easy. And now we have this gamepad. So when we change the gamepad if it's handedness of the input. So if we add this script to the left, to the right controller, this should be right, and we should only have the right hand. Okay, can we test this easily? Well, we should not get errors, that's the first. We don't get errors, we get a lot of messages, but that's because some invalid GL operation we can ignore for now. Let's see. Well, we don't get errors, that's basically good. If we switch to hands, switch to controllers, it should work as well. Nice. We don't get errors. Do we get here? Log. Yeah, log is fine. Boom. Setup events. Save. So now we should have setup events in the comments. Let's make sure we recompile. It is still on the cursor here, right? Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the browser. So for some reason this one didn't refresh automatically, so we might get errors. We don't. Enter PR. We didn't get the setup events, right? Set up. This is an interesting message we get here. Because I wonder why it says TK here. Oh, I probably have a breakpoint there, a special. So you can add breakpoints as a log point. And log points are for debugging purposes. So you can have that. That's why this indicator is in front of it. Can we just close all right here? Yeah. And we do Control B and we say, what's the name of the script? Hello, Demon. Welcome. How are you doing? So how do we do this? What's the script? Big target. I don't see the pick target. Oh, tile selector. Tile selector, that's the one. Let's just add a breakpoint there. I should see setup events. We don't get into setup events. Oh, thank you. I don't know how to get notifications on things. Well, thank you so much for subscribing. Yes. I know that it exists. I know that it exists. I don't know how to program it. I never looked into it. Yeah. Hence the name, right? Okay, we should get into here. I made a mistake. Because I don't get in here. Do we actually call this? No. Yes. If you want to have some code to execute, you need to make sure you call things. No, this is TypeScript. And JavaScript. This is JavaScript. This is TypeScript. So I'm using Wonderland Engine to build a VR game. And I'm currently working on a custom teleportation implementation, basically. So, well, I can show you in the browser. So this is basically going to be a farming game. The ground is randomly generated. And if I rotate this, it should be visible. So there is this green of this blue indicator that is the tile we have selected right now, or we're pointing at. I want to teleport to the tile, and we can teleport with this teleport indicator, but I want to have this at the center of the tile and teleport to the center of the tile. A Minecraft mod, it's kind of... Well, nowadays, every pixel art 3D game looks like Minecraft. I did do a Minecraft mod once. I just wanted to know how it's done. What did it do? It was for creating different colored bricks, I think. But yeah, I kind of like the aesthetic of Minecraft. It's basically more... Do I still have it open? Yes. This is an earlier version of the game I did for a game jam. Well, thank you for stopping by. Have a great rest of your day as well. Oh, it's getting late already here as well. Oh, wow. I just realized I've been streaming for over 2 hours. It's the longest stream in a while. But let's see if this setup events thing is called when we enter VR. And only when we enter VR. If we exit VR, which should not be called. Because of this nice filter. I imagine this getting longer or having more complex filters. Let's see if we refresh if it's being called now. Enter VR. I don't think it's called. But it could be. So I'm using the nightly version, so things are not as stable as they are in the released version. Normally the browser would refresh, but somehow that breaks every now and then. Oh, I just restarted it, so now we have the debug tools, we enter VR. It's still not called. Okay, let's make sure it's not this this crazy pipe thing. I did set this up, right? Yes, when we enter VR or exit VR, the properties should change and we should be notified. We are notified. Is in VR. Is true. Wait, the pipe is still here. This is the function that was called. It is called. Now it should not be called when we exit VR. So if we do this, we exit VR. It's not called. So it actually worked, but I didn't do it right. Okay, so we save this. Let's quickly try again. No, not save. Refresh. It should be already refreshed, but VR. We get into this breakpoint. That's nice. So we continue. We get here. If we go here and exit VR, we enter again. Now it's called again. Cool. But I'm going to end stream right here. I need another layout for having myself on the screen bigger. I don't have that yet. I need to fix that. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching and hanging out. Next stream will be probably on Monday, where we're going to continue this teleportation thing. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. And the bell to be notified. If you want to chat in between, make sure to join my Discord. I'm always online. And if you have questions, just feel free to ask. And I will see you again on the next stream. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.